The Golden Touch. Part 1. The ancient Greek told the story of Midas. He was a rich and powerful king who loved gold more than anything else in the world. However, if there was one thing he adored just as much, it was Marigold, his daughter. She is worth her weight in gold, the king often remarked. At one time the king enjoyed looking at flowers. He had planted a garden that contained the largest and most beautiful roses that any mortal ever saw. But now, if he glanced at the flowers at all, it was only to estimate how much they would be worth if they were made out of gold. Midas spent part of every day in an enormous room in his palace. That huge chamber, which was filled with gold, was his treasure room. There the king counted his many bags of gold and let the pieces of gold slip through his fingers. He often whispered to himself, "Oh Midas, rich King Midas, what a happy man you are!" Then he always added softly, "But how much happier you would be if you had more gold." One day Midas was in his treasure room counting his fortune. Suddenly a long shadow fell upon the heap of gold. Midas looked up and saw a young man who stood there smiling at him. Midas was certain he had locked the door, and there was no other entrance to the room. Therefore the king concluded that his visitor must have very great power. The stranger looked around the room, then smiled again. "You are a wealthy man, friend Midas," he said. "I doubt whether any other four walls on earth contain as much gold as you have managed to pile up in this room." "I have done fairly well," admitted King Midas, "but it has taken me a whole life to obtain this much. And there is so much more gold I would love to possess." "Well, what?" exclaimed the stranger. "Then you are not satisfied?" "I am not," said King Midas, shaking his head. "What would satisfy you?" asked the young man. "I am curious to know." Midas paused and thought for some time. Finally a really bright idea came to the king. It seemed as bright as the glistening gold he loved so much. "It is only this," the king replied. "It takes so much time, trouble, and effort to collect my treasures. I wish, I wish that everything I touch would turn to gold." The stranger smiled, lit up the room, and everything shone brilliantly. "The Golden Touch," he said. "The Golden Touch. That is an excellent wish indeed. But are you sure that wish would satisfy you? Are you sure that your wish would make you happy?" "How could it fail?" King Midas said. "And you would never regret that you asked for it." "That wish is all I ask," King Midas said. "It would bring me perfect happiness." "Then you shall have the wish that you desire," the stranger said. "Tomorrow, when the sun comes up, everything that you touch will turn to gold. Goodbye for now," the young man said, and he disappeared as suddenly as he had come. Midas did not sleep at all that night, but tossed and turned, and waited eagerly for morning to arrive. Before the sun was up Midas arose. He touched the table by his bed, and stretched his arm to place his hand on a chair that stood nearby. But the bed and the chair remained just as they had been before. Neither one turned to gold. Had it all been a dream, or had the stranger played a trick on him? The disappointed king walked slowly to the window. The morning was still grey, but as the king peered outside, the first rays of sunlight reached the palace room. Midas hastened to the bed and touched it with his hand. The bed turned to gold. The king rushed frantically about the room. He picked up a book, which turned instantly to gold. He brushed against the mirror, which turned to gold. He put on his clothes, which also turned at once to gold. His new fine gold suit looked magnificent. Indeed, it was a bit heavy, but still it was gold. King Midas pushed open the door, which turned to gold. He then went down the stair, and smiled as he observed that each stair turned to gold as he descended it step by step. Into the garden Midas went. He moved from brush to brush and put his hand on each and every rose, which at his touch changed at once to gold. Then, satisfied with his gold work, he returned to the palace